Hi, it's me Tutor Binod. In this video, we are going to talk about the famous problems related to father and son's age. In this type of problems, certain conditions are given to you, such as father is this many times the age of the son. 3 years later, he will be this much than that of son. Those kind of words problem are given to you, and you are supposed to translate it into algebraic form and then solve it in order to find the current age of father and sons. So let's get started. In this problem, the sum of father and his son is 50 years, which is now 5 years before. Their age difference is 30 years. Find the present age of the father and a son. Let us consider that the present age of father be x years and son be y years. So f is the notation for father, whereas s represent the son. The sum of the father and his son is 50 years, which is now, because this is present. So x plus y equals to 50. Let me write it as equation 1. Similarly, 5 years before. Now let us think. What do you think the age of father 5 years before? Of course, he will be 5 years less than he is now. So the age of the father right now is x. 5 years before, he will be x minus 5, which is 5 years less than that of he is now. So 5 years before, father age would be x minus 5 years. Similarly, 5 years before, the son would be y minus 5. I hope you get this part. Once you get this much, rest is very easy. Now the condition has given to us that the age difference is 30 years 5 years ago. So whenever you subtract the age of the son, which is y minus 5, from the age of the father, which is x minus 5, so 5 years ago, the difference between the age of father and son is equal to 30 years. So let me write it as x minus 5. Now if I multiply this with the negative sign, I would get negative y positive 5, because negative times negative is positive. So equals to 30, which will give rise to the equation as x minus y equals to, this is cancel, so equals to 30. Let me use the method of substitution in order to solve this problem, which is the easiest of all, I think so. Or you can also subtract equation 2 from equation 1, so that your x would be cancelled out and you would add up with 2y. Or let me use method of substitution in this case, which is relatively easier than other method for this kind of problem. So if I solve for x in this case, for this equation, I would get x equals to 30 plus y. Let me write it as equation 2. Now let me replace the value of x as 30 plus y in equation 1. So replacing x equal to 30 plus y in equation 1. So let us see what happens. Instead of x, I can write 30 plus y over here. 30 plus y plus y equals to 50. 2y plus 30 is equal to 50 because y plus y is 2y. If I subtract 30 from both sides, I would get 2y equals to 50 minus 30 would give me 20. Therefore, my y would be 10 years. Now, if I substitute the value of y in equation 2, I would get x equals to 30 plus 10, which is equal to 40 years. So the present age of father is 40 years, whereas the present age of son is 10 years. This is how we can solve this problem. Now let us see another kind of problem. In this problem, we have the similar kind of problem but in the form of ratio. Here are two friends, Sam and Bob. 3 years ago, the ratio of the age of Sam and Bob was 4:3. 3 years hence, which is 3 years from now, the ratio of their age will be 11:9. Find their age now. So let us assume that the present, let us say present age of Sam is x years, whereas Bob's age is y years, which is now. But the question says that 3 years ago their ratio is 4:3. Now let us see. So 3 years ago Sam would be x minus 3, 3 years less than now, whereas the Bob will be y minus 3. So I can write according to the question, x minus 3 over y minus 3 must be equal to 4/3, because the ratio of the age of the Sam and Bob is 4:3, which is equivalent to 4/3 when 3 years ago. So 3 years ago Sam would be x minus 3 because now Sam is x. Similarly, Bob will be y minus 3 years. So the ratio must be equal to this. This is the algebraic representation of the words written in this sentence. I hope you got it. So let me cross multiply it so that I can get 3x minus 9, because 3 times 3 is 9, equals to 4y minus 12, or 3x minus 4y equals to negative 12 plus 9 would be negative 3. Let me write this as equation 1. Now the second condition provides us that 3 years hence, I mean to say 3 years from now, Sam would be x plus 3, because Sam now is x. 3 years from now he would be x plus 3 years, and the Bob would be y plus 3 similarly, and the ratio would be 11:9, which can be written as 11/9. Doing similar things as we have done here, we would get 9x plus 3 equals to 11y plus 3. Now let us multiply it. 9x plus 9 times 3 is 27 equals to 11y plus 33. Now let me bring the y to this side, so that 9x minus 11y equals to 33 minus 27, which would give me 9x minus 11y equals to 6, because 33 minus 27 is 6. By analyzing equation 1 and 2, the method of substitution looks a little bit difficult in this case, which is not impossible. It can be done easily, but we can have another easier technique in this case. If I multiply this equation 1 by 3 and then subtract equation 2, I would get rid of x and I can solve for y. So the easier technique in this case would be, let us multiply this by 3, which would give me 3 times 3 would be 9x minus 3 times 4 would be 12y equals to 3 times 3 will be negative 9. So on subtracting equation 2 from this equation 1, I would get, let me write it over here, so 9x minus 12y minus 9x minus 11y. So it would be my left side, whereas my right side will be negative 9 minus negative 6, because I'm subtracting this fellow over here from this fellow. So let us proceed further. Now you can easily see my 9x is gone, so negative 12y, negative times negative would be positive 11y, negative 12 positive 11, it will be negative 1y, so which is simply negative y equals to negative 15. Therefore the present age of y, which is Bob, is 15 years. So present age of Bob is 15 years. Similarly, if I substitute this value to equation 1, which is 3x minus 4y equals to negative 3, if I substitute the value of Bob, which is y, so 3x minus, instead of y I would write 15 equals to negative 3. If I add positive 60 to both sides, I would get rid of this negative 60 on the left hand side, which would give me positive 60 minus 3, which is 57 on the right hand side. On dividing both sides by 3, I would get x as 57 over 3, which is 19 years. Therefore Sam is now 19 years, whereas Bob is 15 years. This is how we do this problem. In this problem, Sam was 9 times his son's age 2 years ago. Let us say present age of Sam is x years and present age of son is y years. That's the present age. 2 years ago Sam would be x minus 2. Similarly, 2 years ago his son would be y minus 2. But the question tells us that 2 years ago Sam's age was 9 times than that of his son's age. So 2 years ago the Sam's age is 9 times the age of his son. So 2 years ago, which is y minus 2 times 9, must be equal to the age of Sam 2 years ago. So this will give rise to this equation. So let us proceed further. X minus 2 equals to 9y minus 18, or x minus 9y equals to negative 18 positive 2 would be negative 16. This is equation 1. Similarly, the another condition is later it will be 5 times only, 3 years later. So 3 years later Sam would be x plus 3, whereas y or his son would be y plus 3. 3 years later it would be 5 times only. So 3 years later, if you multiply the age of the son, which is y plus 3, by 5, you would get the age of the father at that point of time. So x plus 3 equals to 5y plus 15, or x would be 15y minus 5y minus 3 plus 15. It would be 5y minus plus 12. So that's the value of x. I can replace this value over here. So it would be 5y plus 12 minus 9y equals to negative 16, or negative 4y plus 12 equals to negative 16. Negative 4y equals to negative 16. Negative 12 would be negative 28. So negative sign is gone. If I divide by 4 on both sides, which will give me the value of y as 28 over 4, which is 7 years. In fact, I can now find x, which is 5y plus 12. The value of y is 7, so 5 times 7 plus 12. 5 times 7 is 35 plus 12. So 35 plus 12 would be 47 years. So the present age of Sam is 47 years, and his son is 7 years. Now let us see our final problem. In this problem, we are dealing with the age of mother and her daughter. So let us say, let the present age of mother be x years and the present age of daughter be y years. Now, according to the question, at present the daughter is 1/3 of the age of her mother. 5 years before, the age of the mother would be x minus 5, whereas this is mother, whereas the daughter will be y minus 5. According to the question, 5 years before, mother, who was x minus 5 years, is 4 times that of daughter. Daughter was y minus 5 at that point of time. So 5 years before, the age of the mother is 4 times than that of the age of the daughter at that time. So this will give us x minus 5 equals to 4y minus 20, or x minus 4y equals to negative 20 plus 5. Therefore x equals to, if I solve for x, I would get 4y minus 15. Let me say this as equation 1. Now the second condition is at present the mother is x and daughter is y, but the condition says that daughter is 1/3 the age of mother. So daughter is y, which is equal to 1/3, which is x over 3. So daughter is y is 1/3 than that of our mother. So y equals to x over 3, which is x equals to 3y. So if I replace 3y in this equation 1, I would get 3y equals to 4y minus 15. Now if I solve, I would get negative y equals to negative 15, which would give me y equals to 15 years. That's the present age of daughter. Now if you replace the value of y over here, you would get x as 3 times y is 15. So your x is 45 years. So the present age of mother is 45 years and daughter is 15 years. This is how we deal this kind of problems. I hope this video helps you understand solving age related problems between father and son, or mothers and daughter, or any kind of word problem related to age. Also, I would like to humbly request you to subscribe my channel if you have not yet. Also, click the bell icon so that you never miss my future updates. For now, stay safe and healthy. Thank you.